Thank you, and thanks to the London School of Economics for hosting me virtually. Today I will set the stage ahead of the World Bank and IMF spring meetings. This provides an opportunity to engage partners on urgent matters, including work on climate change, debt, and inequality, working toward a green, resilient, and inclusive recovery. Let me begin by acknowledging the importance of the United Kingdom within the World Bank Group. The UK is the largest contributor to IDA. It is the IBRD's fifth largest shareholder, and I enjoy strong relationships with Prime Minister Johnson and members of Parliament, civil society, the private sector, academia, and media. Our office in London works to promote consensus around the international development aid agenda and build a platform for collaboration on shared priorities. More than a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, the scale of the tragedy is unprecedented. 127 million infections, 2.8 million deaths, more than 100 million people pushed into extreme poverty, the equivalent of 250 million jobs lost, and 250 million people driven into acute hunger. Besides its immediate harm, COVID-19 is leaving lasting scars. Closed schools and physical stunting of children, collapsed businesses and lost jobs, the depletion of savings and assets, and debt overhangs that will depress investment and squeeze out urgent social spending. COVID-19 descended on the poor like wildfire. It was layered on several slow-burning crises: rising conflict and violence, refugee camps, stagnant median incomes, reckless lending and poorly chosen debt contracts, and damage caused by climate change. Because these crises struck at different speeds, the natural tendency everywhere was to tackle them separately, one at a time, without sufficient attention to cross-connections that might have enabled a more effective response. The world is developing a better line of sight forward. Our collective responses to poverty, climate change, and inequality will be the defining choices of our age. It is time to move urgently toward opportunities and solutions that achieve sustainable and broad-based economic growth without harming climate, degrading the environment, or leaving hundreds of millions of families in poverty. We are calling our approach to these interlinked crises GREED, green, resilient, inclusive development. In previous addresses, I've detailed some of the World Bank Group's actions in helping countries respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, tackle what I've called the pandemic of inequality, and work toward recovery. These include new COVID-related emergency health programs in 112 countries, vaccination operations that we expect will reach $4 billion of commitments available in 50 countries by mid-year, and a quick doubling of our trade and working capital finance to help fill the banking vacuum that hit private sectors. Despite COVID-related work-from-home restrictions, the World Bank had record 65% growth in program delivery in 2020, an even bigger surge than the heights of the global financial crisis response in 2009. And this elevated level of delivery is continuing in 2021. It is important that every commitment has the greatest possible development impacts and robust operational policies and review processes. And we're building a culture of contestability where we encourage our highly diverse, multidisciplinary, and globally experienced staff to challenge each other's perspectives and help to enhance the quality of operations, throughout both preparation and implementation. External input is vital also, including from development professionals and schools such as yours. Each of our country partnership frameworks is developed with citizen participation. We are working to help countries build country platforms to engage with the wider groups of development actors as they develop the programs we support. External experts frequently participate in the development of our projects and programs. And in the past year, we've taken significant steps to enhance the accountability mechanisms for both the World Bank and for IFC and MIGA. It's worth mentioning that IFC has committed $30 billion in long-term finance from 1960 to 2021, and over half of this has been delivered just in the last 10 years. I encourage each of you to read World Bank country programs, project documents, and our knowledge sharing to think about what works and what possibly doesn't. Good development outcomes in countries are at the heart of the bank's mission and activities. The challenge extends to every academic discipline, and we need faster progress across the board in water, nutrition, education, health, infrastructure, electricity access, governance, regulation, taxation, connectivity, inclusion, tolerance, and a host of other critical issues. I'm going to focus today on 3 of the most pressing challenges: climate, debt, and inequality. But first, allow me to give you some of the background and context.